ripped up the independent study addendum in Kyler Murray's contract after receiving significant backlash. The Cardinals made that decision hours after Murray made an unscheduled appearance in the media room to defend himself. Take a listen.
To think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career and not be a student of the game and not have that passion and not take this serious is almost, it's disrespectful, and it's almost a joke. You know, I'm honestly flattered that y'all think that at my size I can go out there and not prepare for the game and not take it serious. This game's too hard. To play the position that I play in this league, it's too hard.
And a few hours after Murray spoke, the Cardinals then released this statement, and I quote, "After seeing the distraction it created, we removed the addendum from the contract. It was clearly perceived in ways that were never intended. Our confidence in Kyler Murray is as high as it's ever been, and nothing demonstrates our belief in his ability to lead this team more than the commitment reflected in the contract," close quote. But far from closing the book on this story, look at D. Woody shaking his head. Your thoughts, my friend?
Hannah, I have so many. First of all, the fact that you have this impromptu press conference and the Arizona Cardinals' subsequent move of deleting that addendum was just all a colossal mistake by both parties in the situation. Because even with the clause in the contract, they could have let this whole thing drift into the training camp night if they had just went about their business. But they rehashed this whole thing, and now it's a story for us to talk about, for a good amount of time. That's number one. Number two, Kyler, you signed the contract. Mm-hmm. You signed it. Like your representative and yourself, you agreed to it. So, it's hard for me to talk about the Arizona Cardinals. They put it in the contract, but you ultimately signed the contract. It's like an agent. It's like as an athlete, how we're ultimately responsible for things we put in our body. There's no argument about that. And ultimately, Kyler Murray, you are responsible for this because you signed the contract. And it just speaks volumes that they would even put this in the contract. It tells everyone, as far as what the organization thinks about your preparation, your leadership, and how you go about your business within that Arizona Cardinals facility. That's what I think about this whole scenario.
And then, Mike T., what about the reaction of the front office? He has this unscheduled presser defending himself. Then they come back and take it out of the contract.
That's the part that's surprising, which is everybody had to anticipate there would be massive blowback, massive discussions, because this is historic. I've looked at NFL contracts for close to 30 years now. I've never seen anything close to it. If you have concerns about his study habits, there's ways to address it that aren't in the contract. One of the more fundamental ways, Hannah, is to wait to do an extension. He's been in the league for only 3 years. They could have said, hey, we love what you're doing in some respects, but you got to get better in terms of your study habits. We'll readdress it in October, November after the season. So that'd been one thing. And I agree with D. Wood from this standpoint, Hannah. I'm shocked that they're shocked. The agent's role here is to say, hey, you're getting all this guarantee money, which you deserve, but let's be prepared. You're going to be under massive scrutiny, and if you're uncomfortable with that, we can't sign this addendum. So I think it's really been poorly executed, and hopefully both sides could learn from it.
How did nobody see this coming, seemingly, Jeff?
Exactly the question that the Arizona Cardinals need to answer in the wake of this to themselves. I had one general manager immediately after this went down. Immediately after, I was trying to scour the league to see, is this something that's normal? Maybe we're overreacting. This is standard language in some contracts. This GM said, no, would never have done it, nor would my owners want me to. It draws too much attention, and it's not worth the paper it's printed on with an arbitrator anyway. So that was the instinct right out of the gates. And then when it comes to crisis management after that, when you're dealing with the problem, and Kyler Murray comes out and blames the media, and it's not, who cares if he blames the media? It's not about that. It's more about, hey, let's have some awareness and how to handle moving forward, and then the organization takes it out. I think it's just one misstep after another. We're all trying to move on from this, including us, but it just keeps rearing its ugly head.
I mean, it's the most bizarre story, and really, you can walk this back out of the contract, but Woody, isn't the damage already done in terms of perception of Kyler Murray?
Well, listen, I think a lot of people had perceptions about Kyler Murray as far as lack of leadership, things like that. But then when you add something like this to the fire, it just adds more fodder to it. So, now that tells me, so this guy doesn't prepare. He's not a professional. Because that's what ultimately this addendum tells me. You're not a professional. You don't go about your business in the right way. The organization has to literally add something in your contract to basically tell you, hey, man, you need to study. Like, what the hell? You're a quarterback and you're not studying? Like, come on, man. Like, we need 4 hours out of you in a week to study and get ready for your opponents. Like, that's a joke. And Kyler Murray is taking the blowback from it.
Right. I mean, and the owner, this was partially what the owner wanted.
Yeah,
right?
certainly, the owner, Bidwell, was certainly in on this. I just keep coming back to, since the beginning of it, we're talking about 4 hours. Do you know, I was told, just kind of digging around.
How much film study does an average quarterback, do you think, do?
I'm not going to give you an average quarterback. We're going to go straight to the top
Tom
tier.
Brady, right?
I'm going to tell you how much Tom Brady studies a week, okay? I was told specifically that he studies more than 50 hours a week. More than 50 hours a week of film study. And that's not a knock on Kyler Murray. It's the mere fact that there would be a contractual addendum to get him to study for 4 hours a week. Tom Brady over 50. And I would argue that most franchise quarterbacks are studying closer to Tom Brady than they are 4 hours a week.
Man, and the first time he misses a read, the first time something happens, and I mean, it's all going to come back to the fact of, wow, did he study enough?
Yeah.
As he makes mistakes early in the season. Yeah, they set him up, didn't they? All right, coming up, has anybody dealt with more scrutiny than Lamar Jackson? Wait till you hear his response to the anonymous critics who continue to question his game. And birthday boy, Dak Prescott, he has golden plans for the Cowboys. Could he actually snap one of the biggest, ripped up the independent study addendum in Kyler Murray's contract after receiving significant backlash? The Cardinals made that decision hours after Murray made an unscheduled appearance in the media room to defend himself. Take a listen.
To think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career and not be a student of the game and not have that passion and not take this serious is almost, it's disrespectful, and it's almost a joke. I'm honestly flattered that y'all think that at my size I can go out there and not prepare for the game and not take it serious. This game's too hard. To play the position that I play in this league, it's too hard.
And a few hours after Murray spoke, the Cardinals then released this statement, and I quote, "After seeing the distraction it created, we removed the addendum from the contract. It was clearly perceived in ways that were never intended. Our confidence in Kyler Murray is as high as it's ever been, and nothing demonstrates our belief in his ability to lead this team more than the commitment reflected in the contract," close quote. But